Dalvin from Brooklyn, you cannot include the two Shawn Michaels matches for this. What are your other 5 favorite WrestleMania Undertaker matches? So basically, he wants to know what I think are the 5 best Undertaker WrestleMania matches of all time outside of the 2 that he had with Shawn Michaels, which obviously, if I did a list, WrestleMania 25 would be number 1, and there's a pretty good chance WrestleMania 26 would be number 2. So if you remove those from the equation, top 5. Well, what I scribbled down here, as far as Undertaker's best matches, I thought, at WrestleMania. First one I think of is the match with Triple H at WrestleMania 17. The first match, the one they never acknowledge. It's like it never happened. American Badass Taker against the Game, Triple H. Up to that point, there were certain WrestleMania matches that Undertaker had that were good. And there were some that were absolutely awful. So the one with Snuka, which was his first one, was a very basic match. The one with Jake, I actually kind of liked it. It wasn't a good match, but I liked it. And the tombstone on the floor was good, even though Jake's head was 6 inches up off the floor. That was a total squash. Jake was headed out of the company, and they had, they put the new guy over him. And then I think of the matches with Giant Gonzalez and King Kong Bundy, and they were just terrible. Diesel, the match with Diesel was good. Sid, not so good. The Kane stuff I never really got into. The Boss Man Hell in a Cell was fucking atrocious. And so we get to WrestleMania 17, and I think that was his first truly good, like very good to great WrestleMania match. There was nothing on the line. There were no championships on the line. It was not called a number 1 contenders match. There was no fancy stipulation. It was just one-on-one on the undercard. And I thought they over-delivered. It was a fun match. There's that great near fall where Undertaker gets Triple H up for the last ride, and Triple H has the sledgehammer, which had been on the ground. And when he was bent over for the powerbomb, he very subtly reached down and picked up the sledgehammer. Undertaker didn't know. And when he got him up for the powerbomb, referee didn't see it. He whacked him right in the head with it. And I thought that was the finish. I think everybody did. And he kicked out. Like there are parts of that match that still stand out to me. The tombstone. That was the first time Undertaker had used the tombstone, I think, since he came back the year before, when he hurt Triple H with it. So, like, certain things like that I remember. Great finish. And also, I think the first time I can remember them acknowledging the streak was WrestleMania that year. Maybe there was a random comment they threw out at WrestleMania 14 or 15 or something, but the first time I really remember Jim Ross pointing out that The Undertaker was unbeaten at WrestleMania was when he beat Triple H at 17. So that would be on the list. The next one, if I'm going in order here, kind of like chronological order, the second one on the list would be Undertaker and Batista. These are not ranked, by the way, but Undertaker and Batista from WrestleMania 23. Those guys were on a mission. They were pissed. They were very upset that they were not going on last. They were not technically considered the main event that year. And so they were motivated to go out there and steal the show. And steal the show they did. I thought they had a great match. It might not have been their best match. They probably had better matches together. But it was for the World Heavyweight Championship. I thought it had, it was better than it had any right to be. And Undertaker won the championship, and it was a very good match. So that would be on my list. Number 3 would be Undertaker and Edge from WrestleMania 24. That was a very good WrestleMania main event. I mean, the thing that really stands out to me was the Charles Robinson sprint down that very long aisleway. You can probably find the Ultimate Warrior videos online of him coming down to the Warriors theme. There's another video of him coming down to, I think, was it Chariots of Fire, which is also pretty funny. So, and that was a near fall, I think. But they had a very good match. There are a lot of people who are very fond of that Undertaker Edge feud on SmackDown. I don't really look back on it as fondly. I was never really like, wow, what a great feud. But they had some really good matches. And as far as WrestleMania, main events, Undertaker, for all the years he's competed at WrestleMania, he doesn't really have a whole lot of main events to his name. This was one of them, and this, is one of the best, I think. So that's 3 of the 5. Fourth match I would put on there would be the Undertaker Triple H match at WrestleMania 27. Not a whole lot to look back on and be happy about when it comes to WrestleMania that year. This was clearly the standout. This was the match of the night. And I would not put it above any of the matches that Undertaker had with Shawn. I think the Shawn matches are a step above. But this is right below. I thought that first match was great. Well, the first match of the series they had, in 2011 and 2012. The WrestleMania 27 match with Undertaker and Triple H I thought was very, very good. And I would round out the list with, I'm not going to put the Hell in a Cell with him and Triple H. That actually is really, it's a great near fall in that match where you really bought for a second into the fact that Undertaker was going to get pinned. As a match, it really is not one of my favorites. If I had to put a fifth match on this list, Undertaker's best at WrestleMania, I'd put the WrestleMania 29 match on there with CM Punk. I thought that was a very good match. And Undertaker by that point was pretty beaten up. He had a horrible match with Brock, the next year. A lot of that probably had to do with the concussion he suffered. But the 29 match with Punk, and I know Punk was very upset. Punk had been champion for 434 days, and he lost the championship to The Rock at the Royal Rumble. He lost the rematch the next month. He had that great match on TV on Raw with John Cena, and the winner would go on to challenge Rock for the championship at WrestleMania. And Punk really got a Raw deal. I really do feel like Punk should have been in that match. And I'm not a huge fan of doing triple threats in the main event of WrestleMania, but that year, it should have been Cena, Punk, and Rock. If there was any year that CM Punk really did deserve to be in that main event spot at WrestleMania, it was in 2013. And he didn't get it, and I know he was very sour about it, and he knew that he wasn't beating The Undertaker, and he wasn't really into it, but they went out there and they had a very good match. So that would be my 5 outside of the Shawn Michaels matches. 17, 23, 24, 27, and 29. The guy's a freak. I'm telling you, this guy's been around forever. And the second half, the matches he had in the second half of his career, when he was already quote-unquote washed up, it's just amazing to see the difference in quality of his matches from the first half of his career, when I guess he was probably more gimmick and character-oriented back then, especially the early years. But man, did he have some duds. But you look at the second half of his career, and it's like a completely different person. It's actually quite amazing sometimes to sit back and watch.